way that you captained this team was legendary. What do you see in Aaron Judge that he can continue that for this franchise?
I said this when I was here at the stadium, and they asked me about potentially Aaron being the next captain, and I said, to be fair to him, I didn't know him that well. I've gotten to know him a lot better over the last few months, and one thing is you don't have to change who you are or how you go about your business. I think the reason why he was named the captain is because how he's handled himself. And I remember when the boss named me captain, he told me, don't change anything. I think your responsibility is somewhat, I don't even know if I can say get bigger, because he always has a lot of responsibilities. But I think people look to you a little bit more, I should say, whether it's young players coming through the organization, free agents that come over here. Everyone tends to look in your direction. So I think he'll continue to handle himself the way he has, and I'm just happy for the organization and the Yankee fans.
Hal, I don't know if this is an easy question for you to answer, but we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about what's going on.
I don't have to answer it.
You don't. You definitely don't. What's going on across town with Steve and the money that the Mets are spending, and your thoughts on that, and does it get to a point where maybe it's not good for the game of baseball when this much money is being thrown around?
Well, I will say this. First of all, and I said this in March, it's great to have two great New York teams, and we're both going to be great this year. And we were great teams last year, just didn't work out for different reasons. I just think it's great for the city and great for the fans. I was joking with somebody previously that 10 years ago you'd always hear me say you shouldn't have to have a $200 million payroll to win a championship. Well, I've modified that slightly to you shouldn't have to have a $300 million payroll to win a championship, because most teams don't. The Astros didn't. I think it's something. I think it's something to be looked at. Another thing I said in March, which I truly believe, is every fan of every team. Nobody should have to go to spring training thinking their team has no chance of making the playoffs. I mean, that's just not good for the game. And that's why, all the owners have worked on competitive balance the last 10 years, and why I think competitive balance is considerably better than it was 10 or 15 years ago, if you look at the teams that are in the playoffs or that win their divisions.
Do you take notice of the Mets spending spree, and will that in any way impact what you do going forward?
I mean, obviously they're aggressively putting together a team like we're typically doing on a year-out basis, and you can't not take notice of it. But I just keep it simple on our end, which is what are our areas of need and how can you best address them. We have a really good team. Finished with 99 wins last year. Got banged up with injuries towards the end, so we're going to get a lot of those guys, we think, back. But how can I add to it? And I think the additions of retaining Judge, obviously bringing a new bullpen piece back in Tommy Kahnle, and then tomorrow, introducing a Rodon as a new addition to the rotation are steps in the right direction to improve our team. So we can only address what our areas of need are. But yeah, you certainly recognize what other teams are doing, including the Mets across town.